Hi everybody, it's Lace, and with the new changes coming in R50, well, every release has new changes, but we're getting some new skills for refining, and this is going to increase your batch size, or your speed at which the things are processing, or your efficiency. And efficiency means you might get an extra piece of ore back, or rather ingot back, when you're processing something, or an extra spool of thread, or something like that. So that's pretty nice. Also, the increased batch sizes for me means I can slap some stuff on there to refine. I can go do some dishes, throw some food in the microwave, throw in a load of laundry, and things like that without having to just put 20 on there and then waste all that time while I'm trying to do other things. Because quite frankly, when you're refining, you can't do anything other than stare at the screen, go read news, go read the forums or something like that. There's nothing else going on when you're refining. So these are much beloved skills changes coming, well, new skills rather, skill additions coming, and I'm happy for them. Now, there's 5 basic refining processes, and each one has 3 skills. That's 15. Usually skills take about 1.2 million, but the efficiency one is like doubled to 2.4 million. So just 5 times the 2.4, well, that's 12.5 million or so, and then the other 2 times the 5 is 10. So you're looking at around 20 million to GM all these. Not everybody has that much saved up. I know there are some folks that do, and boom, they'll probably GM right off the bat. But for those of us that don't have it, and I am one of them because I've spent a lot of my millions of XP in bumping some things up higher and stuff. So I've been working pretty hard on increasing my producer pool. And so that's what I wanted to directly talk about. What are some of the best ways, some tips and tricks to increase my producer pool? And this goes for somebody that has 1,000 GMs or 0 GMs. Now, one of the most ignorant arguments I see on the forums, and sorry, no offense, but it is ignorant, is that, well, you could just make stuff and I got this much XP making this item. Yes, you did the first time and maybe on the first exceptional, but each subsequent time that you make something, you get less and less XP from it to the point of diminishing, through diminishing returns to where basically you'll get like 20 XP. Some of the more other ones maybe you might get 60 or 80, but again, it's diminishing returns, so it's not sustainable. That means you cannot be a crafter and just make things. You have to go out there and hunt, and you have to harvest and forage and stuff. So don't listen to these people that obviously don't craft enough to know that it goes down. Yes, at first it's a great way to, as a new player, buy a few recipes and really boost it really quickly to hit 40 or so in some of your skills. You don't need to be a GM to create good stuff. What you do need is, I'd say probably at least about up to 70, level 70 in the skill to get the biggest bang for your buck. And this is the cost of producer XP that you spend to level it up versus the benefits. After about 70, once again, we hit diminishing returns where you're spending more XP and getting very little payback. And the reason you want to GM something is to teach others. Yes, you get a little bit tiny more stats, whether it be from hunting or from crafting, but the real boon is being able to teach others. And people, respect that and enjoy that. And it's a great system in and of itself in the GMing. And then of course, once you go past 100, again, you're going to spend even more experience for just slightly a little bit better. But if you're, floating in XP, either from hunting or from producer XP, yeah, go for it. Not going to hurt you. At least not yet on the crafting. To illustrate what I'm talking about, making one of everything, I'm just on the blacksmithing station here. And if I just do meteoric, well, first I can make meteoric iron ingots from the smelting station from iron ore, and then I believe it's nickel and tungsten, and make a bunch of meteoric iron ingots. Then I can make some iron bindings. And again, to bump my producer XP, if I'm fairly new and not already made a bunch of these, I would want to do it one at a time so that I can get an exceptional, which gives a little additional producer XP bonus. This is a good thing as a new player. Make one at a time. Don't do a stack of 20 do them one at a time. And then I can do dagger blades from my ingots, and I can make all these different blades and run through the school of Meteoric. I can do this again also, let's say, for copper, iron, Constantine, white iron, and bronze. So I can make all these same little pieces that many times, and again, the first time I make each one of them, it's going to bump my producer XP. So as a low-level character, you're probably not going to be able to hunt in the tier 5 zones, where per node that you hit or thing that you skin, you're not getting the 500. This is a different way to just start bumping up your crafting to where maybe you can make yourself a little something better to then start hunting the higher and higher zones. Now, once I've made all those different halberd blades or whatever I've made, then I can put them together. And yet again, one time, I want to do these one at a time. And you actually always want to do these one at a time, is put the final product together. Now, you don't have a meteoric iron halberd, and you don't have a white iron, and you don't have a copper in that. It's just the final thing is like that. There are some recipes that do have specific types to them, but again, just talking about producer XP, this is one way where if you're a little weaker in hunting, you can get a few million just running through the recipes. Now, of course, getting the recipes, well, they each cost you 250 gold each, and you have to run around and find them. Additionally, you can get people to teach you them, but you got to find somebody willing, and it takes them like 1 hour of their time to sit there and teach you, and they already had to spend the money on it, and then they're teaching you, so you need to pay that forward to the next person, to try to keep the love alive. And a lot of these things that I'm talking about right now, I do have a crafting school set up where I'm printing books here and there on as topics come up, and even this topic here today that I'm talking about, there's going to be a book in there. It's just right there across from the crafting pavilion. I think there's a book on the outside, and then there's 6 books currently on the inside. So these are just talking about, some of the little tips and tricks and stuff that I've found along the way, either I've discovered or possibly I've read from the forums and things like that. So it's, a compilation and stuff. While slightly off target, again with recipes, like I showed all the meteoric stuff, you used to be able to do this, and you'll hear people talk about this on the forums, discovery, and that's where if you knew the components, you could quote-unquote discover the recipe and not have to spend the 250. Those days are gone, my friends, and we're all still very, very sad, and it's been well over a year, I think, and we all still feel the pain of 250 gold a recipe. But then, to add insult to injury, now most of those, like meteoric mace head, meteoric two-handed mace head, meteoric halberd blade, these now only come as recipes in bundles. And of course, when supply diminishes, demand is still there, and it makes the prices go up. So you're going to see folks raping you for these recipes. Not everybody that has these recipes inside their book already can teach them, because they may have quote-unquote discovered them and they don't have the ability to teach you. Again, some are just not teachable, and these are also topics covered in the crafting school and other videos and stuff, but I just wanted to touch on that real quick. So getting back to the point of the video, which was about producer XP, just to reiterate, we've gone over that yes, you can get some pretty good gains as a brand new player, brand new crafter, by making one of everything. Well, it's a little bit more than one. I'm going to say it's around 10 to 20 is where you really see that just the chunk go down. And then you had to just use all those materials just to make 20 wall shelves or 20 bookcases or 20 blades, sword blades or something like that. So eventually you're going to run out of resources, and you're definitely going to run out of money because you're not going to be able to buy them. So what do you have to do? You have to go out there and harvest. And you will start out, just as your character advances in your hunting prowess, I like that new word, it's like a prawn in hunting, prowess. As you level in your hunting prowess, you will be able to begin going to harder and harder zones, where your rewards not only from hunting and killing things goes up, also the value, or quote unquote the producer XP you get from the node goes up. Now there's some exceptions to this rule, and that seems to be the harvestable herbs and stuff, which I don't understand why that is, but that's how it is right now as of R49. And then also crystals, which can produce the gems, which are again used in enchanting or socketing, quote unquote, armor pieces and weapons and swords and things like that. But crystals are also used in glass, so doesn't mean ignore the crystals. Just know that you don't get the same XP on them that you do with harvesting an iron node or a copper node. And I don't really understand why that is, because they keep saying risk versus reward. Well, I still have to kill the same mobs to get those crystals, so why isn't my reward the same? I don't know. Maybe you guys can ask that in mass for the next post-mortem. So let's go back. So we've talked about a couple things here on producer. Let's talk about actually going out there and getting that producer. And I'm going to use a tier 5 zone as an example. So for R40 or R50 coming up, you're looking at, let me get that XP pool boosted. Or even if you're like one of my regular attendees at our monthly crafting event that Prism holds, you want to boost bump that XP. Spectral Mines is probably one of your go-to places for XP. First of all, you get pretty good XP from killing the mobs. And then secondly, the zone's kind of small and compact, and you can get quite a bit of ore and also, again, producer XP. Now, there's two ways to approach this. You can either just go around and just normally run circuits and you kill the mobs and you get the ore and stuff. Or there's a couple little tips and tricks that you can use to boost the amount of XP you get or boost the amount of ore you get. Now, I've done a couple mining videos just recently with Elysium Mines, showcasing that, and Exeter Crag Mines, and in that I only talked about the number of, let's say, ore per hour. And I think I did see one comment, somebody said something about, well, yes, but your producer XP, blah, blah, blah. Okay, those were videos about number of ore. Okay, this video is actually about producer XP, so maybe I can alleviate some of those concerns. When you're going around and mining, and this could be in a hunting area as well, you want to spend the least amount of time killing things and just harvesting your butt off. You know, again, whether it's trees, cotton bushes, skinning, whatever. The same thing holds true in a mine. With that said, you can approach this mine a couple ways. I can go through and I can, if let's say I use a polearm, well, it's either usually a halberd or I use a spear and shield. I've just lately been working on my spear and shield, but I can still hit 3 targets, I believe, with my spear and 4 targets with my halberd. So for me to effectively fight, one of my best strategies is to run around and grab 6, 7, 8 mobs, kill them all at one time, spend that 1 minute or whatever, however long it takes me, depending on what gear I'm wearing, and kill them, and then run around like a mad person and get all the nodes and do all the skinning and things like that. That's one strategy. The other one is just kind of run the circuit and kill them as I come to them. You know, so if it takes me 1 minute to kill one mob, and it takes me 1 minute 30 seconds to kill 4 mobs, that means I'm doing more time actually gathering than I am killing things. So this is all going to depend on your build, your skill set, your weapon choices, or your magic choices, and things like that. So my strategy isn't necessarily going to work for you, but you can certainly mold yours to approach it the same way, where you spend, kill as many as you can at one time and then grab everything. So going with this, let's grab everything and kill everything at once approach, I'm just going to grab some mobs here. They're going to be hitting me. Let's see. I don't want to make this boring, but yeah, I got 3, 4 mobs. I got some archers. I have no stat gear on, so I'm probably going to have to heal and stuff a little bit here. The footmen I don't want to hit first. I'm going to want to get these archers out. And this is not going to go well. Probably have to reshoot this. Maybe we'll leave it in just because it shows me fighting for my life, because I kind of bit off more than I could chew here. But you don't want the archers to ever get behind you. You want to kill them first, not the footmen. This might be educational. I might die. I still got another archer out there to handle. And this was a fresh scene. So for you lower folks, yeah, it can get a little hairy in here. But we survived, yay. Okay. So that's one strategy. I just killed, I don't know, 5, 6 mobs, whatever. Probably not as clean and with as much finesse as I usually do. But what I want to talk about is, so now I've got ore nodes. And there's probably 6, 7 I can get. One thing I can do is I can now run around and get all these ore nodes. And depending on if you've used obsidian potions, which I do have an expedience, which means less strikes, which is less times per second to get the ore node. And then I also have a meticulous up. Well, if you're trying to go for producer XP, meticulous is not your friend. You actually don't want to meticulously mine if you want to build your producer XP pool. And each one of these is worth 500 XP points. And right now, of course, watch me never get never get the meticulous while I'm trying to shoot the video. But what I want to show is that you don't want to take the meticulous. Your best friend is the critical strikes, where you get that very fast, rapid mining. Man, we just can't hit that, of course, because the video is running. I'm not going to turn it off. I'm just going to kind of run through this, and hopefully we'll get it here in the next couple. We're just getting basic hits right now. And you also notice I haven't looted these. I will go back through and check them, make sure they don't have any bundles on them, yellow bundles, gray bundles, and I will grab the gold, and sometimes they'll have artifacts in here. Okay, there we go, meticulous. So now I'm going to hit W, it's like my movement key, and stop it. What that's going to do is save me a few seconds on that mining operation, which, while we just did that, was like the 5th one. If we keep doing that, it's going to end up saving. There's a good quick strike, and then we hit meticulous, and we're going to stop it, because we're not concerned about the number of ore we're getting. Each one of these is 500 XP, and that's what we're trying to build, at least if that's your goal, building XP. Now, if your goal is ore, well, then you're all happy when you get a meticulous, especially like when you get one that's like 10 or more. But in this case, all we want right now is to get the XP. So we'll just go around mining these, and I'll come back and check the bodies for loot and stuff. But I've basically cleared these 2 little areas here. Right now, again, of course, because we're shooting the video, I'm not getting a lot of criticals. I'm not getting a lot of meticulous. But when you do, that's how you're going to build your producer XP in here faster than just going around. So each time I'm hitting W to escape basically out of the meticulous, I'm saving myself, 5 seconds or whatever. That adds up when you're trying to look at your XP per hour. And that's producer XP. I'm not talking about fighting. Now, simply stopping the meticulous, at least in Spectral, I can net an additional 14 to 20k an hour in XP alone. Yes, my ore count is going to go down, but my producer XP count goes up considerably. So it's just going to depend on your situation, which way is, the way you want to approach it. If you're trying to get XP, don't do meticulous. If you're trying to get ore, well, yeah, you want the meticulous. And then again, the second thing with the looting of the bodies, go back and leave some stuff on them so that you don't get the respawn as much. A lot of folks use this cheat. So like I'd come up to these bodies that I just had here, and this is an archer. Well, I'm not using arrows. I have so much corpse wax, it's not funny. I won't take the corpse wax probably just because of the weight. And then so now this footman's got to screw with me. Let's find a footman body here real quick while he's beating on me. On the footman bodies, I'll grab the gold. If he had the morning star, again, if I'm trying to build producer XP, I'm not going to pick up that morning star, even though that's going to give me good metal scrap, because they weigh so much, and it's going to bog me down and make me have to leave the zone a little bit, sooner than I want. If I'm really going for XP, I want to be very lightweight, light on my feet. I'm not going to pick up many things. And as I'm going through and getting the ore, I'm going to end up with a ton of granite. If, again, I'm wanting just producer XP, I'm probably going to dump that granite and stay in here for hours and just nail these. And, with that said, Let me look at my numbers here real quick at what I can get with them. We're just auto-attacking, sorry. Kill this guy real quick. 1 second on those numbers. Yeah, so just kind of doing this normally and letting the meticulous fall where it may. I can get 75, 80k without a sweat, and that's probably going to the bathroom, getting something to drink during that hour, messing with my dogs and cats, and just casual. But I can increase that, like I said, by like 15, 20k an hour if I take the meticulous off. Now, this is not necessarily the best way to get producer XP out in the field. The absolute best way is to go behind some Uber hunter who's hunting in an area where there's a lot of animals and they're killing a bunch of animals and just skinning your butt off. You can far break the 100k mark in producer XP an hour with a hunting buddy. But I'm approaching this from the standpoint of a solo player, which is like in the mines. So I have to do the killing and I have to do the mining. I can also go out into, let's say, an animal area or a place that has a lot of animals, let's say Twins Foothills, and I can pull in probably 60, 70k an hour, just normal hunting, but I have to do all the killing and I have to do all the skinning myself. And that wasn't so much when I was doing those time trials, it wasn't so much with me pulling everything at once. In a few places you can do that, but then you've got to wait for the repops to be able to skin them. And you're going around getting the trees and the cotton bushes, and and you're not looking for a specific item to harvest. You're just taking whatever nature gives you, so to speak. So there's various ways to get it, and it just depends on what your needs are. Do you need materials versus producer? Or are you just going about it casually? Or if you're just hardcore going for producer XP, meticulous is not your friend. That's probably the biggest tip I can give you. But again, then you're going to get less items, which means less to sell or less to create from or less, to do whatever you want. So there's a trade-off in everything. One other thing that can save, now I'm talking about seconds here, but honestly, when you add these seconds up, that's where you get your most bang for your buck in producer XP per hour. So here's the node, right? Now I'm standing a little bit far away. I can still, okay, so there the pickaxe is there. Now if I hit the E key, E for everything as I call it, when I hit E, look how slow she walks to that. I've just wasted 3 seconds walking to that stupid node, whereas I could run up on it in 1 second and hit it. And the most common place that you'll find this is typically on cotton bushes out in the wild, and I call it walking around my ass to get to my elbow, because I'll click a cotton bush, let's say this is the cotton bush, and I want to harvest it, and my stupid character will go all the way around, except very slowly, to get to that cotton bush. So now I've wasted seconds off my producer XP time, to me in my head, for doing that. So so the same thing applies in the mines. Get right up on it and get it. On the cotton bushes, they only have one angle point that's harvestable, and same thing with trees. And you may go to one side of the tree, but you don't harvest it from that. Your stupid character walks around. So eventually, over time, if you're harvesting in the same area, you're going to know that the strike point is on the north side or the east side or the west side. And believe it or not, think about it, shaving off seconds means it's going to repop faster, you're going to harvest faster. And yes, I'm talking about seconds, but when you're talking about trying to build a producer XP as fast as possible, seconds turn into minutes, which save you hours in the long run. So for me, Spectral Mines is one of my favorite places to get producer XP using one of the two methods that I've shown you. I still like going out and killing animals and hunting and skinning myself, because I'm hitting those trees and cotton bushes, which produce things that the sieges, while they produce wood and wood scrap, and then you can grow cotton. I don't get those extra items that are used in crafting, like the suet and the beetle carapace and stuff. So I still hit those. Even though the producer XP is a little lower, I still need those things. So I still go do them. So I'm not saying this is the end-all be-all. This is just one way if you want to get a little boost, maybe before our next Grandmaster tutoring event. Come in here, spend a few hours, get a few 100k XP. Don't worry about meticulous, and just build that producer pool. So based on some of these tips and tricks that I've shown you, you can use those and ones other people share. Maybe people will share some more inside the thread comments and stuff, and use that to your advantage to mold your experience in the game. Take care, everybody. Happy hunting, and be safe.